All right. Hello, everybody. So for my philosophy 1301 class, I've been tasked with producing a review of me and my partner's thoughts over the film Me Before You. But I thought before we do that, we must first acknowledge the actual film and everything that it contained. And in the film Me Before You, there are two main characters, and it has a ton of sub characters. But the two main characters is Will Traynor and Louisa Clark. Will Traynor is a crippled paraplegic. He's also depressed, alone, and in a lot of pain. And Louisa Clark is a very quirky, outgoing girl, and she becomes his caregiver. And basically, together, these two have like quite a story, in my opinion. Shall we continue? It all began when one day Will was leaving for work. It was raining, and he got into a motorcycle crash, but he wasn't driving. 6 months later, he was paralyzed from the waist down, unable to walk on his own or do anything for himself, really. And that's when a barista or barista, either word fits, came along and said, I'll help him, when she couldn't support enough money for her entire family. And then later on, her job is to provide him with happiness, be a friend to him, to show him that he is cared for. And she brainstorms on how to bring him hope and lift up his spirits. As the two become closer later on, they discuss each other's goals, passions, and forgotten dreams. And as this is going on, her fiance is getting real mad, and he's triggered by her obsession with Will, and he decides to leave her. He said either him or me, and she chose him. And despite the situation she's put in, she still wants to improve Will's life, especially after he only promised his parents 6 months of living before he chose an alternate way of life. He wanted to medically end his life. So she later proposed a vacation for the two to have, and all parties agreed to it. And it was very, I would call it magical or romantic. It was along a nice beachfront, and they just had a moment. And then she thought that he was in love, and he thought that she was in love, and they were. But he still chose that to medically end his life was the best decision, because he said, this is no way to live my life. Because prior to this accident, Will was an athlete. He was a skier, a surfer, anything you can imagine he was doing. He was an extreme athlete. And he decided, I wanted to medically end my life. And she was heartbroken by this. Like, she didn't know how to react. She was in so much pain. Her mind was blown, and she didn't know how to act. So later on in the movie, as they get back home, Will begins the process of medically ending his life, but him and his family and all his friends, and even Louisa Clark, she is there to support him and bring him happiness to the very end. And a subtle thing about this movie is that he left her a little bit of money because they both enjoyed the French films, and he wanted her to go to a cafe in Paris, and that's what she did after his death. So that's basically how it ended. It's a very controversial ending on how he should have reacted or what he should have done in this manner. But according to me, I believe that he was wrong. All right, let's get into our responses. So my initial response was that in the film Me Before You, Will Traynor was a result of a tragic motor accident, and he suffered in silence a lot. He was in pain, and he wanted to medically end his life. However, his parents wanted 6 months with him. So they hired a caretaker named Louisa Clark to take care of him, and she became a friend to him, and they eventually became secret lovers. However, I disagree with the way in the actions he took upon this, because he caused her to leave her engagement, and she went to go to him, and he rejected her later on, and decided he still wanted to end his life. And I just found this morally wrong, because who does that to a human being? I don't understand the context of that. And my partner responded to me saying, I see what you are saying, but I do not agree with the way that you go upon it. He said morally, he said me saying that it's morally wrong is not fair to him or anybody else, because he said if he's not happy, then I can't take that away from him. But he said if I were in this situation and I were not happy, do I still want to be in this world? And I'm saying that if there was something that brought me happiness, like Louisa Clark did to him, isn't it worth giving it a chance? And he said, but his reasons for this are because he feels that happiness with the girl is not greater than happiness with himself. And I understand that. He said, but saying it's morally wrong is not fair at all. And then I later responded with, I agree with your findings overall. Life is all about being unfair, though, and morally objective. We have morals ourselves, and believe it or not, we go through scenarios all the time that are questionable and unfair. But how can you think there is not an underlying problem with the way he did her, or he let his decisions to be out? I do see reason in believing that his own opinion and his own thoughts do affect him personally. And I understand that. But if you are in love with somebody else, how can you just treat them that way? But if you truly care for someone, what gives you the right to stop trying, believing, and working towards a better solution, a better situation? I understand that he's in a pain, but aren't we all? I'm not saying that we all suffer as much as him, but we all suffer in a way. Mentally, socially, physically, any type of way. And I basically just said that I believe that once in a lifetime opportunity for you to find somebody that is your polar opposite, but you still love them, that's a chance you should take in life. But he didn't take that chance, and that was my problem. All right, so let's take a look at what I just said. So me personally, my beliefs were that if he truly loves someone, you should fight for them. If you truly love someone, you should stay alive for them. If you truly love someone, you should hold on to them. Zion's belief, if you didn't know, my partner's belief was that he had his own choice. If he wanted to do that, he could. If he saw no point in life, he should have done that. But the point in life was Louisa Clark. She was that 1 in a million chance that he had with her. And I think the pros of the situation is that he ended his pain. I understand that. I respect that. That's all I can see. The cons. He left somebody heartbroken. He left his family, his friends. He gave up. That's I don't want to say he gave up, but what else is there? Because he had an opportunity. He had an opportunity to love again, to live again. That was his way. He experienced everything she did, and she experienced everything he did. The feelings, emotions, they shared them. They were one. And he said, I'm going to end it. Why? I don't understand. That's what I don't understand. So before I go critiquing somebody else's idea and beliefs, I want to understand why. Was it too much to bear? Was something wrong with his head? Did he not love her the way she loves him? Did he love her too much to keep her? What? That's what I'm confused on. How did he decide that he wanted to do this? Because prior to meeting her, he wanted to do it. And after meeting her, he still wanted to. So how big of an impact in his life did she prove to be? Especially if he paid for her to go to Paris. But still, I'm questioning how he deemed it okay and responsibly. Like, he had everything he needed in that moment, which was love. And he threw it away. And that's where I'm confused. So now that we looked at everything else, we must question some things ourselves, such as did my response change after my engagement with my partner? And I will say yes, because it is his decision. It is his life. If he wasn't happy, he wasn't happy. However, I'm just a little confused on how things played out. And next we must ask, how does my answer relate to philosophical points of view. And I would say, we studied Aristotle's and Plato's views, and one of their views were happiness, the greatest good, and the other view was knowledge, the greatest good. And he was an extensive man. Will knew everything he could. He did everything he could. But he had the knowledge to make that decision, is what I'm saying. Is that the knowledge we're trying to discuss? Because this knowledge, are we discussing it in wisdom or happiness? Are we discussing that like his happiness, her happiness, their happiness, his parents, his friends, his other caretakers? No, we don't think about that. That's what I'm confused on. And then we must later ask, why is my position the best view? And I don't know if it's the best view, but it's my view. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand how you can go from loving someone to death like so fast. Wouldn't you want to spend more time with the person you love? Wouldn't you want to hold on to them for as long as you can? That's where I'm confused at. I don't understand that. But I digress. From what I just spoke, I know it's hard to believe, but I think I could be neutral on either side of the topic. As in, I could argue for both points. But I'm just like, love. Isn't love happiness? Can it lead to happiness? I just don't understand. That's my point of view. That's my growth in judgment. Is that I can do both sides. I can argue them. I can view from both sides. But eventually, at the end of the day, I'm going to question, like, every decision that somebody makes. Was it the best decision? Was it the right decision? Morally? Like, in every aspect of life, was it the correct decision? And that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time. I'm Brandon Baker. This is my Philosophy 1301 final exam over the film Me Before You and all our stage analysis. My partner in this was Zion Bello. He helped me see the light on the other side of the situation, to gather an analysis for myself and to grow in a deeper thought rather than just focus on one thing. So that's all I have to leave off with. Thanks.